Thanks for joining me today. About 4 years ago, my salary was about $75,000 as a single guy living in a very inexpensive part of the country. And today, my household income is well into the multiple six figures. This video is about how my level of satisfaction and happiness have been affected by such a drastic change in income over just a few short years. And so if you're wondering to yourself whether more money would make you happier, let go of the mouse, set this video to full screen on your phone, sit back, and enjoy. But before we get into things, if you haven't heard about this guy, his name is Adam Nelson, and he makes really great videos about money. And so after you finish watching this video, drop a like, and then go check out his other content. I think American culture teaches us that our level of success and joy in life can be directly measured by the amount of money we have in our bank accounts. Those who earn more money can spend more money and can therefore be more satisfied, be more popular, and have overall more enjoyment in their life. At least that's what they want us to think. I think in actuality though, our success and joy in life can be measured more directly by the number of likes we get on our videos. So if you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button below, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Look at today's celebrities. They live lavish lifestyles where they flaunt their cash and their fancy cars and their beautiful friends and their paradisiacal vacations, and they never seem to have a bad day. Logically, that must be because they're rich, right? And that makes the 2010 study that found that you're only happier until you're making about $75,000 really hard to believe. After all, if you're making $10 million per year, you'd be way happier than you are now, right? It's really easy to believe that the ultra-rich are genuinely happier than you or me. But if you peel back that admittedly large layer of money that separates them from us, I feel like you'll find that we have a lot more in common with them than you may have originally believed. It's also very important to remember that we're only seeing very specific small portions of these people's lives. We're only seeing what they've edited and what they really want us to see. And oftentimes they omit everything that's negative or that they just want to hide. And that kind of makes sense. If you work your entire life trying to make a lot of money and then you finally get there and you're not as happy as you thought you would be, that can be kind of embarrassing. You've spent a lot of time and effort getting to that point, and for what? And maybe they just want to perpetuate the idea that once you're rich and once you've made it, you're happy. But I don't think that's actually true. Don't just take my word for it. Listen to what Jim Carrey had to say about this subject in 2014 when he was giving a commencement address.
I've often said that I wished people could realize all their dreams and wealth and fame, and so that they could see that it's not where you're going to find your sense of completion.
Now, I mentioned before that I have some personal experience when it comes to seeing how making more money affects happiness. But I don't want this video to be totally one-sided, so if you have any similar experiences, please share them with me in the comments below. I read every single comment, and I'll do my best to reply to all of them as well. When I was just out of college, I was working as a full-time programmer making about $72,000 a year. I wasn't married, and I was living in an apartment that I rented for about $200 per month. I didn't have any outstanding debt, I had a car that was paid for, and I was just bringing in what I thought at that time was a lot of money. But the weird thing is, at that time, I was feeling really empty inside and confused. I mean, I had all this money, and I didn't have any outstanding debt. I had enough to survive and even thrive. The cost of living where I was extremely low. Like I said, my apartment only cost me $200 a month. That's ridiculously low, and it wasn't like a really bad apartment either. And so I think probably part of that was because my best friend at the time, who actually is now my wife, Lindsay, she had just left the state and she was planning on attending college in a different state. And so she left me with some not as close friends and a lot of alone time. And I remember quite a few times during this period where I would go out to a diner that was in town just for the increased social interaction. I also remember leaving really generous tips for the waitstaff, because if I wasn't enjoying this money and I had so much of it, or so I thought, then maybe I could at least brighten their day by giving them a bigger tip than normal. Now, if we skip forward just a little bit, I'm working at the same exact job, making about the same amount of money. I've upgraded my apartment to a place that now costs me about $700 per month, so quite a big improvement over the $200 per month apartment, but still nothing super fancy. It was bigger and I had it all to myself, so it was nicer. But I think the more important thing was that my then fiance had moved back into town to attend a local college and to be closer to me. And we had some friends with whom we were really close and with whom we really enjoyed spending a lot of time. And like I said, I was still making right around $75,000. And this was one of the happiest times in my life. Everything was generally going really well. I was performing well at work, and my stress levels were really low, and Lindsay and I were living really comfortably, but not lavishly. And so I mentioned that at this time, Lindsay and I were just engaged. But as our wedding date approached, I felt more and more self-imposed pressure to begin earning more money. Around this time, I was also starting to get bored with my work. All of the problems that they threw at me became easy, and I knew how to solve them really quickly and easily. And so I wanted more of a challenge as well. And so I knew I was going to become a husband and eventually a father, and I really wanted to have my financial ducks in a row. And so around this time, I started interviewing at some of the big name tech companies until finally I landed a job paying way more money than I was making before, and at which I'm working today still. And so shortly after getting married, Lindsay and I moved to the Denver area where I began my new fancy job making all this money. And shortly after that, Lindsay started her job as well. And so by this point, we were bringing in a lot of money, and so we upgraded our apartment. I think we were paying around $2,000 or so a month for this apartment while we were saving for a down payment for our house. During that time, Lindsay and I would go out to eat frequently, or we would go to the movie theater down the street, sometimes a couple times per week, or we would buy really fancy food and have nice dinner at home. And we did all this while still putting a lot of money towards our retirement savings and saving for the down payment for the house that we have now. During that time, I was generally really happy. I would even say that I was happier than I had been before. But with time, that joy and happiness started to fade. This phenomenon is known as the hedonic treadmill, or hedonic adaptation. And that's basically a theory which states no matter how many majorly positive or negative events occur in one's life, that person's happiness level will eventually return to the same set point where it once began. Now with that in mind, about a year after Lindsay started her original job in the Denver area, she decided to change jobs for something that would pay her a significant amount more. However, after only about a month or so, I would say that neither of us were any happier than we had been before. And yes, it was a significant amount of money that she was making more than she had been before. But honestly, I don't think either of us really felt that difference in income. All that money allowed us to do was save more. Now, none of this is to say that we weren't happy or that we weren't becoming more and more happy with time. That's not the case at all. It's just that money wasn't really a factor in our development of happiness. Lindsay really enjoyed the second job that she had in the Denver area as opposed to the first one, but not necessarily totally because of the money. It was more because of the friendships that she cultivated at the new job and the types of work that she was doing, which she found more fulfilling and more enjoyable to work on. And while I'm making more money now at my current job than I was before I moved to the Denver area, I would say that my happiness level probably isn't as high as it was before. And there's a really simple explanation as to why. I find my job immensely satisfying and very fulfilling. I enjoy it a ton. However, this current job has so much more stress associated with it that I feel like my happiness overall has taken a significant hit. And so there's no doubt in my mind that I'm sacrificing part of my happiness by enduring this increased level of stress, all in the name of making more money. But the reason I do this is so that I can provide for my family. If I have to make a small sacrifice in order for my family to be more comfortable and more financially secure, that's something that I'm extremely willing to do. And for what it's worth, my family is living much more comfortably than we ever have before. But I would contend that comfort is not happiness. And so the main point of that whole story is to illustrate to you that after you're meeting your basic needs and have a little extra for some savings and retirement and maybe the occasional extravagance, that I firmly believe more money does not result in more happiness. I could spend hours philosophizing with you about how you do increase your happiness, but I won't subject you to that kind of boredom. After all, this channel is about money, and I don't want to venture too far off topic. I will, however, leave you with a few nuggets of wisdom that I've acquired in my own personal pursuit to make more money. If all of your effort and time and energy is devoted to trying to make more money and you're not making it, you're not going to be happy. Being without a home or proper clothing, or not having enough food or clean water, or not having access to medical care when you need it, all of these things will have a negative impact on your overall sense of emotional well-being. I find the most sense of fulfillment and joy and happiness when I'm building relationships with other people who are important to me. My family, my extended family, and my friends. If I'm the only one who's benefiting by me making more money, then making more money itself loses its appeal. I'm happiest when I'm making money that I know will positively impact others. First and foremost, my family, and second, others who are in need, and this is why I give to charity. Spending time working on hobbies I enjoy, such as this YouTube channel, vastly increase my level of happiness. I am happier because I make enough money to meet my basic needs. And the excess money that I make allows me to live in more comfort. But it's primarily in the pursuit and discovery of my passions that I find the most joy. Having financial peace of mind allows me to focus more on my passions, instead of solely focusing on making more money. And it's a draining endeavor to pursue more money just to have more money. And I think it's one that will leave you feeling empty and probably depressed. And humans are engineered to always want more. No matter how much money you make or what accomplishments you might achieve, you're always going to want to take the next step and make it to the next tier up. And you'll never truly feel totally satisfied with what you've done in the past. And this is actually a really great thing. This is why humans don't live in caves anymore and why we don't smack each other around with gigantic wooden clubs. This aspect of human nature also has allowed us to move into an age where we enjoy things such as the internet, and more specifically, my YouTube channel. And finally, if I got a $10,000 raise, that would be awesome. So if my manager is watching, please give me a raise. But honestly, after a few short weeks, I feel like that would have no bearing whatsoever on my overall level of happiness. Okay, so that wraps it up for this video. Thank you so much for making it this far with me. If you enjoyed this video or found value or truth in its content, then please click that like button below and consider subscribing to find more of my videos as well. I know this video turned out to be a bit longer than I originally planned, but I feel like its message is really important, and I feel like it has the potential to help others live their happiest lives. So thanks again for watching, and until next time.